Hey, it's Dave, back with you. There's a little snafu on the memory card yesterday, so most of this video has already been recorded, but I didn't want to do an intro without doing at least one plant chore because you missed a good ant infestation story yesterday. But this is one I've been meaning to get re-trellised, one I showed in one of my very first videos, and he's had a bit of a, it's a little bit obscene frankly, but a bit of a growth spurt. I was hoping against hope that these leaves would pop and be bigger so that I could propagate them. But I'm just going to re-trellis this and bring you along with me. And this, by the way, this is the Magnifica from New Guinea. It's a terrestrial growing plant, so in the ground. It's probably the only plant I have that I do not let dry out, period. It's one that you can put in, and should put in, a larger pot than you're used to. And as always, I got this as a small plant, and it has grown very, very well for me. Its sun stresses so beautifully. You can see these leaves are pubescent, I think. I would imagine you can see the little bit of fur on there. Imagine that with some stunning sun stressing. It's a great plant, one of the best plants. It takes up a lot of room once it gets going, like this one has, but it doesn't require that much in terms of special care. Normal room conditions, cool room conditions, cold even, 40-degree humidity, which is a pipe dream in my house in the winter without multiple humidifiers going. So let's get into it. And then there are a whole lot of Hoya chores coming up. So I hope you enjoy that. I try to cover a lot of basics along the way in terms of Hoya care and so forth. But this is a really, this has 2 growth points coming out of it. That's why I was struggling here. I was like, what is going on? Love when that happens. This is a really special plant. It is just so beautiful. I have no idea what these cost retail-wise, but with a little patience, you can have one that is enormous. I would, what in the world? All right, let me just get it unbuttoned here. These, you can just imagine how talented I was as a teenager with bra straps. I had so many opportunities to undo bra straps when I was a teenager. Probably a reason I didn't get good at it. Okay, anyway, back to plant care. This is not an episode of Dr. Ruth. Oh my gosh, I have a lot of clips on this one. Okay, my word. Are we free? I think we're free. By the way, while I've got your attention, if I have your attention, I did finally take the time to document the products I use through Amazon affiliate links. And, you know, obviously if you buy something through an affiliate link, that does help the channel. But if you just want to know what I use to grow my plants, snoop around, check it out. I really distilled it down to what I use and what I use all the time and what I'm extremely happy with. I've wasted a lot of money, as we all do, in hobbies, getting to the products that I think are the best I've found anyway. And I'm going to do a video, perhaps the very next video is going to be the products I use, to talk a little bit about them individually and maybe compare them to some popular products and why I was disappointed with them. And I'm going to see what we have here. Another person would do this over some Tupperware. I'm aware of that. Oh dear. So, feels pretty firm in here. And one thing I try to do is stay ahead of problems. So what that means is looking at a plant that looks terrific right now, but monitoring. Am I watering it more frequently? I am. The tent is heating up more, which would be part of that, but even during the winter I started noticing an uptick. And you've heard me say many times already that a truly root-bound plant is not a happy plant. Tight in the pot is fine, doesn't need a lot of room for the roots is fine, but there will come a point where it gets starved of water and nutrition. And when you look at that root system, every plant you and I pop out of its pot should look this good. That's incredible. That's just great. And again, I keep this wet. Not water when it's almost dry, not water when it's completely dry. It's moist at all times. And I'm not the only one who does that. That's not some outlier advice. So pot size, this is an 8-inch salt clay pot. This is 5 or 6, I'm not sure. That's a great pot. I get almost all of my pots thrift shopping, so I'm offended if a pot costs more than $1, but if it's cool like this one, I might go $1.50 on this one. Let's see. So this is a rather huge pot, but I need to put a large trellis on it, and this is going to grow. And I just watered this on Sunday. Today is Tuesday, and it's already it needs to be watered today. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab 1 or 2 more pots just to make sure I'm okay putting it in one this large. I am okay putting it in one this large, but I just want to make sure I don't have to like just the perfect one downstairs. Okay, so conventional wisdom would be this is the pot. Just gonna do it my way, as I always do. Just gonna put some bark down at the bottom. This is my usual mix of cocoa chunks, cocoa coir, and of course perlite. And again, finally, all of these products are in the description down below. That looks perfect. And I'm putting a 3-foot trellis in here, not hit the chandelier. I have another one of these if I feel like I need to put 2 in right now, but I doubt I will. And then as, you know, it's actually, this is a deep enough pot. This is pretty stable, but as you water it in, just like your bamboo stakes and so forth, well, this is bamboo, it does firm up, I have found. So I'm gonna find a spot on here that makes sense for the first clip, like right there, just to stabilize this plant, something like that. And I do sometimes take for granted that there are a lot of people new to Hoya on here, which is perfect. That's exactly what I want to hear. So the question is, do you have to wrap a Hoya vine counterclockwise? And the answer is yes, absolutely. It will die off if you try to make it go clockwise. So I will stand up for this and be mindful of the growing tip. Don't touch it if you can help it, because you will probably kill it off. And it will start a new growth tip somewhere else. But, you know, better to not have to do that if you can. So this isn't going to look immediately quite as full as it did. And of course the leaves will have to orient themselves. Always want the growth tip to be headed back up. It's fine if you need to secure it, you know, if it's pointed down, as long as there is enough room, like say 6 inches, that it can naturally make that arc by itself. But if, say, the vine were this short and I pinned it down, it's growing away from the light and there's no value in that for the plant. So it would just kill that off and it would start off a new growth point. And it may start off a new growth point simply because I've started going down and back up. I've certainly seen that happen before. So there we go. Very beautiful plant. And again, it'll take some time for these leaves to orient themselves to the light. So looks a little funky right now, but it won't remain that way for long. There is part 1 of the video. You will be joining midstream on me potting up a Penny's Treat, which is a Mike Bernardo hybrid. I'll have that information on the screen for you. I think I just accidentally deleted the first part of the video when the memory wore out. I thought I had transferred it. It didn't make it. So I will see you looking very much the same right now. Okay, as I was saying, I don't spend any time worrying about this pot being too big for this root ball, because I guess I'm a contrarian and I have just tried it, and I've done it many times. And I am not saying there are no Hoya that won't grow until the roots fill the pot, that it'll stop blooming, this and that. I won't deny that. I just don't have any in my collection. And I've got a lot of Hoya. So whichever ones those are that people swear will stop all growth in their tracks, I don't own it. So I do what works for me. And this works for me. So I'm just going to maneuver these leaves out of the way. And I do want to show you something on this Hoya. This is a question that comes up a ton on the sites, on the socials. Fill that in real quick. Give a good shake there. And again, everything comes down to what are the conditions you have or are willing to provide. The number one condition I can provide year-round is light. Put this in a dim area where there's not going to be as much energy used, where this medium isn't going to get warm, where it's not going to dry out as fast. This might be an issue. For me, it is not an issue at all. So I'll probably tuck that leaf inside there, that one inside there, that one inside. We've got 2 new leaves right here, so I'm going to be very careful and turn the whole pot so I can see what I'm doing. In fact, I will use a clip down here to secure it. And I did a bad job. There we go. And then I will clip it again there. So that tells the plant it's being supported and it's climbing. We'll get good big leaves here. It's still going up, so it's got all the right things going for it. Now, what I want to show you is here we've got a Hoya from Borneo. This is species Sabah, GPS 7950, and that is named after Gerard Paul Shirley, better known as Paul Shirley. He's a Netherlands grower. This is now obviously this is a baby plant for me, but it's reported to be a fast bloomer and a very thirsty plant. This is not grown. What am I going to do with this? I'm going to get rid of most of it. This one's not grown in sphagnum moss, looks like it all. So I'm just going to take some of this denser substrate away. I'm not going to go crazy. There we go. And this is going to go in a 3-inch pot. You can get these from Amazon. They're very, very sturdy and reusable, of course. And while I don't live to up pot plants, I don't want to put, this one doesn't have a massive root structure. So I'm going to take it easy. Not going to go full Dave on it, sober plant guy on it. I mean, plant care is really just applying the experience you have to your next plant. You know, how much root system was there? What do I know about this plant? How quickly does it grow? How quickly will that root system grow? The fact that most people say it needs to be up-potted fairly frequently, so you're not watering every day, tells me that the root system will grow very quickly. So that's all there is to that. Okay, I don't know what I did with the tag, but this is a Berdinii. This is from the Philippines, and this was described way back in 1906. Gets these beautiful blood red leaves, and this is not in an area that's particularly under highlight. We will do another 3-incher. And we'll carry it away there. All right, and we're back after a little memory dump, but I was just going to note that I don't try to center plants in the pots. It leaves room for new growth. It leaves the area for this to kind of grow over the pot. So that's how I do it. Okay, one more that I really wanted to address today. This is the Elagorum. Some people pronounce it Ilagorium. Do not know. If you know, you can spell it out phonetically for me. But this is a very aggressive grower. So if you want to get a small plant that grows fast, this might be a good candidate for you. All right, that looks really good. We'll get this potted up in. That's a good question, Dave. We'll get it potted up in. Do one of these. And then I will use a bamboo stake for a while. That was a root I was trying to pull out like sphagnum moss. Oops. There we go. I hope if you take anything away from watching me repot, it's that don't be afraid to experiment a little bit. Just because word around the campfire is you always have to do something one way, doesn't mean it's true. Doesn't mean that at all. So find your own way. And I just look at it, if I do something and a plant dies, I don't even consider it a failure. If I can take a lesson away from that and do a better job of being an indoor gardener the next time, so much the better. And it's all about developing our expertise. You know, you do not need to be an expert in the field to become a gardener with exceptional skills. So it's available to all of us. That's the great democratization of growing house plants is anybody can get just about anybody's house plant. The information's out there, and it's a matter of developing our skill through experience. And that's it. And try not to compare yourself to the most beautiful Instagram photo out there is probably also helpful. Not sure what I'm going to do with this one. This is a Jennifer prop. I think Jennifer was in my third episode of Rare Hoya. And this is a plant that is supposed to be a slow grower. And I cannot tell you how many plants and propagations I have from late last summer to now from just the one mother plant that had like 3 leaves, a bit of vine, and another leaf. And I mean, the Kaylee Ellen head test, it's too small for that, but I mean, just look at that. Stunning. Will anybody want to buy Jennifer? I do not know. I'll find out when I start listing them. But did I leave it to its own devices for too long? Because it may be too woody, the stem, too trellis. I don't know. I am about to find out though with you. How do you guys like repotting videos? I personally, it's my preference. I don't like unboxing videos very often or much at all. Plant tour videos, my brain just turns off plan after plan after plan after plan after. It doesn't matter how interesting the plants are, I just sort of zone out. I guess that's potentially a me problem or solely a me problem. But I do like repotting videos, and I like it when hopefully there's some interesting information being given. So this is another plant. I'm going to just sound like an old crank, but this is another plant where if I had followed traditional advice, I would have stopped feeding this, cut the waterway back, and not expected growth over the winter. This was a 2-leaf propagation that I started in the winter. So I think you can see why I take people's comments with a grain of salt. That's not denying someone's actual experience, but I trust my experience more. Because here it is. Sydney Plant Guy says proof is in the pudding, and absolutely it is. Here are a lot of good spots on the backs of these leaves. This is common to a lot of Hoya. Whether you water perfectly or not, you're always going to hear that it's edema online. But there are plenty of Hoya that just very naturally speckle on the back. And you have done nothing wrong or right. I mean, for that matter, it just happens. And, oh, we're on a roll, my friends, of good-looking roots. Looks fantastic. You know, look at all the plants. And, you know, it doesn't look like an anthurium by any means. You can see why people say that it doesn't need a, you know, particularly huge pot. This plant is drying out, I mean, almost instantly, it seems like. Now I'm probably exaggerating, But my conditions are changing very dramatically right now, so the tent is becoming much warmer. And I promise I'm going to picture of the tent, and I've got it kind of thinned out, but still you'll get the idea. So I'll include that here, probably. So those plants, all those plants are going to get thirstier that are in there. I'm not going to do anything with this root ball. Nothing wrong with it. This is my own substrate. It's plenty chunky, and it just needs a larger container, and we're going to see if we can trellis this. All right, let's see here. Dress up the bottom a little bit. Kind of want to leave the top as you found it. You don't need to bury the top of the plant. I mean, it's not the end of the world by any means. I think we're good here. So right now what I'm doing is there's a lip in these pots, and if you saw my do-it-yourself trellis video, you will have noted that I recommended bending in the tines of this so you wouldn't run into this very problem. Do as I say, not as I do. Oh my Lord. Have I thanked you guys for the support you've shown this channel? It's 10 to 12 million hours of YouTube are uploaded a day, every day. And for a new channel to find any audience at all, it often takes a very long time if you're not doing something viral like jumping off a bridge and landing into a kiddie pool or something. You know, just a channel that's about your plants and you as a person. Those don't stand a chance in hell finding an audience right away. But you did it, and you've been great support, and I know that the subscribers watch the channel and leave lots of nice comments, so can't say enough thank yous. It's really meant a lot. This is a very, very thick and woody vine, so I'm not anxious to break it for sure. But I'm also not going to there we go. Okay. Where's my wife? She's at work at her real job. Great. I need her. I need her generally, and I need her at this moment. That's okay. Look, I'm a modest person. But I'm gonna brag. This looks good. This looks so good. Oh, baby. Of course people are gonna wanna buy Jennifer. This plant is fucking amazing. This is, Doug Chamberlain says this is the most beautiful leaf he's ever seen. Vermont Hoyas. I mention him a lot because I think an awful lot of him. And, you know, when someone who has seen and grown that many Hoyas, and he grows them huge. He is not one of those people who is in the hobby just to own all the Hoya. He has, and for decades, been a grower. And if you are a houseplant grower, you automatically have my respect and gratitude because you can report back on your experience with the plant long term. And his website's an invaluable resource, to be sure. So the question is, you know, with this vine, how much pressure do I put on it? Not much. If it doesn't want to bend, I'm going to leave it alone. It would be nice if it wanted to bend a little bit. It would be helpful for me personally. I'll be getting this out of the tent though, and it'll probably never go back. It'll just be with me so I can enjoy it all the time. And then I will list some for sale and see what other people say. I do get a lot of comments on how can you buy Hoya from me. My email address is in the About section. You can just email me and I'll send you pictures. Have somebody out there today, should be getting their sunshine in a couple, 3 bonus cuts. You tell me. Is that not gorgeous? Don't say it's not gorgeous. If you don't think this is gorgeous, you're just on the wrong channel. Be right back. I did a video on the Mendorensis, a big Mendorensis, recently. This is a propagation that grew up over the winter. As you can see, it's done extremely well. And another one, different area of the plant and growing bigger leaves, and it looks like a vine may have died off. The question is, do I want to propagate more of this and make this a plant? And I think what would you do? You can't answer me right now. Let's see. Well, let's just take a look at it. This would trellis so nicely. Let's let the roots tell us what it wants to do. The roots look great. Let me pull off this. I feel like I'm going to put this on a small trellis. I'm going to put it in a shallow 4-inch pot. This, look, it's gonna look a little wonky until it settles in, but this is a great plant. Mendorensis, I highly recommend. I did a short video on mine in bloom. Oh my God. I think this should be the next it plant. And quite a few people watched it. It wasn't, not as much as the New Guinea Ghost by any means, which was quite a bit more popular, obviously. That truly was an it plant, or is an it plant. And that one I trellised up, and oh gosh, looks great. Looks just absolutely fantastic. I got so many props out of that. They're all doing great. It's all good here at Sober Plant Guy House. Got a couple of real good videos coming up. I have got some hot Hoya. I'm gonna do a 2-part series, The Girls of Summer. You do not want to miss that one, I assure you. See you again real soon in the next one. Bye-bye.